Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of our SEO Talks, where we discuss everything related to SEO and maybe something beyond SEO, right? And I'm super excited about our today's conversation because we will be talking about AI and SEO. And I think with all the recent changes that we see in search engine results, I think it's a very necessary topic for a discussion. But the first thing is first, my name is Alex and I'm the founder of Digital Olympus. And I'd love our guests, right, to introduce themselves. And I will start with George. George, thank you very much for joining us. Could you please introduce yourself to our listeners?
Yeah, of course. Thank you for the invitation. So I'm George and I run Minusia, which is a content marketing agency, and also run GrowthWaves, which is a newsletter for on all things B2B growth, really. And I'm excited to be here, discuss all these things with you, and yeah.
Thank you very much, George, for joining us. And I think your input will be especially valuable because your agency is more on the content side, right? And we used, and we still actually, and a lot of companies still approach content as an SEO element. And I'd love really to hear your thoughts on this. But, right, let's move to our next guest. Lukasz, thank you very much for joining us today. I haven't been seeing you for ages.
Thank you for having me. I'm Lukasz. It's glad to be here. Old friends, new friends. George, I think we never met before. Viola, obviously we met. Alex, me and you, we probably knows each other for close to 2 decades.
More because
more.
I used to work at
Yeah,
like
I remember you've been that small, or maybe a bit. But yeah, let's not exaggerate. But yeah, it's great to be here, and I'm very, very excited. As some of you can see, of course, here is my website, and I am an SEO consultant. And before I was working in various companies in London, and and then my side job became my main job. So almost 10 years right now, I'm running my SEO.London, and that's pretty much me.
Thank you very much, Lukasz, for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have a chat about SEO, not only SEO, because it's always a pleasure to actually to discuss anything with you. So thank you very much for joining us. Viola, what about you, right? Tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Sweet. Calling in from Berlin today. I run a company that used to be called Flow SEO. That's very soon going to be called Flow Agency. And we do search marketing, organic and paid, for SaaS startups.
Nice. Okay, I think we have a very, very right set of experts because we all more or less do SEO in different formats. And let me ask you guys about your overall feeling about AI-generated summarized results. Do you think it's really a thing? Because a lot of users, and well, most probably just starting from just Google itself. Google received a lot of negative feedback about their recent launch. And what are your feelings about that? Viola, may I start with you?
Sure. I would say the first word that comes to mind is uncertainty. The second word that maybe comes to mind, change. And what I mean by that is I think there is a lot of chaos and there's a lot of talk, especially on the socials, about the world going under and search going under. But I think where I'm at and what I'm first and foremost feeling is I think the way we search, curate, and find information has forever been changed. Not just by the AI overview, but just kind of like AI and large language models and chatbox experiences in general. So right now I'm actually at the point I'm pretty excited. I think it was a necessary change in how we operate. And I'm kind of curious to see how can we rank an AI overview? How is that going to affect click-through rates? How is that going to affect how people engage with the internet and websites? But I think out of the free fall. I feel like it was 12 months in free fall between this announcement of search generative experience and the actual launch. And now that it's out, I'm like, okay, let's get to work. Now we're here, let's hustle. So I actually been feeling better the last 4 weeks than I've been feeling the 12 months previously, where it was so unclear and uncertain. So yeah, I'll stop here and then we can talk further.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for sharing your perspective, your feelings. I quite agree with you. The only thing that I would love to add, because I wasn't really certain even that's a real thing, right? Before I saw it, live in the well, I'm not pretty sure is it a final or not, right? But in something very concrete. And now it's way more understandable, right? For me as a human being as well. What is that? Because before that, it was just more like a collective, something like a collective term that might turn into something completely different, right? But once we really saw it live, it gives a way better, at least understanding, right? Lukasz, what do you think about that? Do you think AI-generated summarized results is something we really need to be concerned of?
I think that right now it's this kind of buzz that we were observing a couple of years ago on the cryptocurrency rush. Everyone is thinking that, oh my God, and the same was with COVID. Meetings, online pubs, new normal, and all that things, and then everything returned. Unfortunately or fortunately, there are some behavioral aspects of how people are living, how people get used to, and it's not like you will bring a new technology and somehow everyone will change. Take a look on VR, for example. It's a very, very slow and long process. And even technology like Google Glass never picked up. I'm not saying that AI will never pick up, but summarizing text is actually something cool. I like this. I also, for example, can say that there is a huge spectrum of things that you can do on large language models, like taxonomization based on, so like list of URLs. We will be probably talking about this and so on and so on. So it's quite frustrating that majority of people is thinking that now we will be writing with AI. I think this is only like one of it could be even considered as a side effect of AI rather than the real reason why we have it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Lukasz, for sharing your perspective. I completely agree with you. Well, I think still, right, my kind of, it's not really concern, but my feeling is that it will change the way we search things, right, and the way users are accessing the information. Well, might not today and straight away, but still it feels like it's no longer the same SEO as we've been doing it for ages, or for the last 10 years, where we were like content plus links and so on. So it's a bit different, right? But before we go into that, right, I would love to hear your thoughts, right, on the current state of things, I would say.
Yeah, so first of all, I share Viola's sentiment around the fact that maybe last year for me was a bit, I was just trying to make a meaning of all of this and really try to understand whether this is something that will have an existential impact on this industry. But now I think that I'm more of a game on kind of mindset and mood. And also, I agree with Lukasz and what he said about the fact that we are there is an echo chamber right now, which I think people should not participate as much, because the reality is that in the echo chamber you will most likely find extreme opinions and fear mongering, which is not what you need right now, right? Even if search is very important to you. Having said that, I believe that AI overviews is just the evolution of search is just the next step for search. And I think that to make a meaning of it, first of all, it's not the first time that Google offers or introduces a feature that summarizes text, right? We have the featured snippets, which work in a similar way, and which unfortunately appear in some SERPs with AI overviews, right? Which I think Google will take action, or they should at least take action and fix that, because you can have two summaries in the same SERP, right? That's a lot of wasted real estate in the SERP. But I think it's part of this evolution, right? Because as you mentioned, Alexandra, we moved, in the beginning it was content and links, right? Then it was content and links and user signals. We started talking about that we need to get these user signals. And now it's content, links, user signals, and brand, and just a black box, so many other things that matter, right? And on the content side, there has been an evolution there as well, right? So in the beginning, it was TF, IDF, and keywords that were important. Then at some point, we started caring more about the term entities, and we used content optimization tools as a vehicle to optimize for these entities. And now we move to this new stage where we have new terms and new ways of doing things and practicing SEO, like vector embeddings, right? So I think it's part of this evolution of search, and I'm not going to make any guesses of where this is going, but I would suggest that as long as there is search, there will be need for people who optimize for search and try to make search better.
Yeah. This really resonates with me, George, and I agree with you. And I have a follow-up question to you guys, right? If SEO, right, as George and I mentioned, was previously about content and links, right? And let's say like user signals and so on. What do you think SEO is about today, right? What do you recommend your clients to do, right? What are the best case scenario? What kind of SEO, right, we need to deliver to our clients? Lukasz, what do you think?
Yeah, I wanted to step back because
sure.
I think this is a very important conversation we have here. And first thing, why we really need the search engine? Because there is no central index of the internet, yeah? And what is internet? Initially, it was a bunch of documents, and it's still in majority like that. So what we're experiencing right now could be a beginning of a new medium, which temporarily is living in the internet, and very soon will start own way. However, there is lots of threats, because we saw something similar. Yeah, I can write a question and I will get an answer. Siri, Alexa, Cortana. No one is using this. Let's be honest. Nobody is using this anymore.
Nothing new.
Yeah,
right?
it is gimmicky. And talking to the bog, there was like, oh, old people will be not feeling lonely. La 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 la. No, nothing like that. No, people still prefer old good TV. Netflix, this, that. Now, if we're going into the AI SERPs, it puts upside down not the SEO tasks and how we are working. First of all, it put upside down the perception of the end user. I like to listen people from outside of the industry. They're saying like, I can't find anything in Google because everything is you guys.
Look, I have a story, a very interesting story. I've recently, a month ago, I had a flat tire in Belgium, and I live in the Netherlands now, right? And the end of Sunday, could you imagine what could be worse? No one is walking for sure. I'm in Belgium. I speak a little bit Dutch, not Belgium, but I'm good. I'm close to the border. Now, I just want to find any company that can help me, right? So just come and, transport my car or fix my tire or something like that. I open Google. What I see in Google results, the maps, like local results, they are making sense. So I see that everything is closed basically. Then I see the top 10 results. What do you think I see there?
Everything is bloody SEO.
10 best companies to change your tires.
Entire company in Manchester is ranking among the top 10 results. And the same, so I see UK results while I'm looking in Belgium for
Viola, or this kind of top pros and cons of having punctured tires.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That is the next thing that I see.
And now, where are we going with this? Because we get to this absurd.
No way.
Yeah, we get into this absurd level of every page must be even longer. Every page there must be more granularity, and so on, and so on, and so on. And everyone is pumping. No one is reading. Very soon there will be AI which is summarizing this. And I think we get to, and Google is also really struggle because they're living from the classic model. They're making money from the classic model of advertising, which was linked to the documents, to the websites, and so on and so on and so on. So if Gutenberg created fonts, and it was a big change for scribes. Like there was lots of scribes were like, oh, no, only handwriting, bloody satanic fonts. We cannot. This is not good. Now we are in some kind of absurd. It's Monty Python almost, But I love it. I love sitting and observing. Maybe internet will end up like the TV. I don't know how you call this in English. TV Gazette. You remember, Viola? This kind of like on the you could get into like a program. This kind of like really pixelated things. There was like what.
Yeah.
We were calling this telegazeta in Polish. I don't know how. Teletext.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the Gen Z or ZZ will be like, do you remember? You remember internet? Okay, boomer.
Well,
anyway.
Yeah, but that what I just want to add something. I'm way more successful with finding local companies on Instagram than in Google.
Yeah, and here you have an answer. And here you have an answer. Of course, it's partially our fault, because we are doing everything to make this.
Like recommending, right?
I was thinking that you will tell me and I was looking for a company to fix my tires, and all the rest is the bloody SEOs. But then people will start drifting away to Facebook, to Instagram, and very soon there will be we will get into the circle. Like I remember 1996, Excite, Lycos, Hotbot, Alta Vista, and so on.
Well, and I also think that's why I said the way we find and curate information has forever been changed, because also we talk a lot about AI-powered search and we think Google and Bing, and now we also think Perplexity and ChatGPT. But I mean, realistically, we have to think YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. You just said it. I'm not even searching for music on Google anymore. If I'm looking for that within Spotify, especially within their AI now. Same like Amazon. If I'm shopping, I'm straight there. So I think as a discipline, broadening our understanding of what does search mean.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, I think we kind of have to be okay with the fact that user behavior does change, and it makes sense. People looking for music, they look on Spotify and SoundCloud, and why not? It just means that if we want to have real estate, if we want to be found, if we want to have touch points, we might have to go to different places, and we might have to do different things than we used to do. And by the way, Lukasz, you know who uses voice search? My mom uses it. I was wondering about this for years. Who's using voice search? I could not understand.
Really?
And it's my mom, because the smartphone is too small. So I think there's people using voice search, but it's probably not us.
You reminded me. You reminded. So lots of respect to your mom. Obviously, I'm glad that this technology is useful. But I will tell you one story similar to Alex. I was going many years, maybe 10 years ago, to Wigan. It's a position. Wigan near Manchester, there was a drum and bass party, and I love drum and bass. And on Skiddle, I went on tickets on Skiddle. I bought the ticket. I went to Wigan. Going to the pub, I'm like, where is the party? The party was upstairs in this pub. I'm going there, and there is like two big guys, and they're like, "Oh, dude, sorry, but there is a entry." I was like, "How much?" I was like, £5. I was like, "Okay," but like, and I opened my wallet, and I showed them, and they looked on each other, and they'd be like, "That's this dude who bought ticket online. I told you he will come. I told you. Give me 5, man." We were thinking, who bought ticket online? Nobody's doing this.
You're a first mover. By the
Yeah.
way, that's another search engine, right? If you think about Eventbrite or
Yeah.
Resident Advisor for online ticket, it's another search engine. So I think like coming back to like marketing best practices, which is like, what is our goal? Whom are we trying to reach? Where are these people hanging out? What is their job to be done? Like buying a ticket, like finding information, and what channel is actually the most useful. And I think that's why it's exciting. I think talking back to your original question, Alex, content and links. I mean, I'm a content marketer. I love content and links. I'm very excited about it. But I'm also excited that what we define as content is so different now, like images, videos, graphics. Like I feel like as an industry, we've been saying multimedia and different content types for so long, but we have not really been doing it. We've been saying images, videos, but we've only been posting blog content and text content. And I think finally we have to live up to what we've been saying for 5 or 10 years. And we really have to think multimedia and different content formats.
Yeah, I really agree with you, El. And I think, what it feels like we all need to go back to basics, right? To, that fundamental things that we were by some reason not really taken much into consideration, because we were mostly looking at search engine results, trying to create the similar content, trying to create the similar link that our competitors have, and so on and so forth. So more like thinking that type of categories. But I think the future is not with that type of things, in my understanding. It's more about thinking, or where is your audience, right? How you can satisfy your audience, what kind of content your audience wants to consume, and how you can effectively amplify this content. If your audience is on Instagram, then go on Instagram and share this content on Instagram. If it's on Eventbrite, then go on Eventbrite. If they prefer Reddit, then go on Reddit, and so on and so forth. So thinking, putting the user first, not the search engine results, because we've been really living on that for ages. George, what do you think about that?
Yeah, if I may say, first, I like the vibe of this conversation. I didn't expect that, but to be like that. But if I may add here, I think that SEO has become very important because obviously SEO professionals and content marketers and people in marketing and growth functions in general have traditionally been using organic search traffic as a vehicle to report on the results, right? And so if you take that away from them, it will be very difficult for them to not just prove an ROI in the initiatives they launch, right? But also prove the effectiveness of their efforts, right? So I think one reason why SEO predominantly from Google became so important is because of the tool and the vehicle it gave us and equipped us with to go back to companies and say, that's why you should spend more on SEO, and as an extension to us, right? Now, going back to what Viola said about going multimedia, I think that's a great point there, and I think that we all have to go above and beyond when it comes to what we define as multimedia. And I will share an example. Even though the website is not live yet, I'm building a website and a new company really with a friend/partner, and it's going to be a website that details and features daily routines of successful people, right? And so we saw a gap in this niche, or however you want to call it. And so we said, let's go for it, right? And one of the channels we will use to begin with for demand capture is organic search, right? Now, as we were designing the website, not even working on content, right? Before that, as we were designing the website, we thought about, okay, what will be the differentiation points between us and what's already out there, right? And so we try to, for daily routines, for the example I'm using, we came up with a metric, which we call routine difficulty, right? Which is going to practically, on a scale from 0 to 100, explain how difficult this routine is, right? And also we try to design the page in a way that buckets the day of a daily routine in morning, afternoon, and night, and so on and so forth, right? And also give people the option to click buttons and get to the specific part of the day they're interested in, right? And this is way beyond we start like working on content. In this case, content follows design, right? And I think that this is just a small example, and unfortunately it's not live yet. It will be in a few weeks. But this is just a small example about how far we can go and how we should start thinking a bit more creatively about content creation and, practicing SEO or however you want to label it, right?
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing, George. That is really insightful, and I think that is most probably the new route that we have to accept and live with. And I'm quite excited about it because I think, this also reminds me that I got a degree in a traditional PR, and actually now it feels like everything is kind of making a lot of sense for me. Even though when I was kind of getting this degree, I was thought, oh, that is the waste of time, the biggest waste of time. But now I kind of feel that, there is a transition between, that my education, the current state of things, and so on, and something in between what I had. And I have the last question to you guys. So, AI, SEO, and maybe the next steps. What would you recommend do people differently, right? In the light of all the changes that we see in search engine results, what will be your biggest recommendation to our listeners? Viola, let me start with you.
Big question. The word that I'm really stuck with right now is the word of originality. And I think Google has introduced that a lot in the last 2 months or so when talking about what the March algorithm update did. But the reason why I like the word originality is probably why you like it, George, because I think it allows back for creativity. Because as an SEO industry, I think, again, we're very guilty. We're looking what's already on page 1. Let's replicate that. And I know that because I've done that and I've taught that and I've spoken about that on stage before. So I know that we're doing that. But I think the opportunity that we have now is like, let's look on what's on page 1. Let's look what's in AI answer. And how can we add something meaningful to the conversation? I think websites got very similar over the last few years. We're all using the same 3 websites builder. We are all using fairly, templated websites, header structure. We all know our landing page best practices and what needs to be on there. And then we put that content that's replicating page 1 on there as well. And again, I totally get it. But the opportunity now, I think, is in originality and creativity. And how can we rethink what users need? How can we rethink what our brand stands for? I've seen huge success with counter-narrative opinions on search right now. If everyone is like 88 best employee engagement ideas, we're like the only employee engagement idea that you will need and stuff like that. So I've seen a lot of opportunity with creativity, counter-narrative opinion. I really hope and pray that design is going to have a big comeback, and we're going to see a lot more interesting websites moving forward. And so leaning into that aspect of originality. Now, I think we use AI a lot. I also use ChatGPT a lot. I also use it every day. And I think not using it is probably also not the solution. I think that's going to hold you back as far as being effective goes. And so the way we've been trying to think about it is ChatGPT amplifies me. It makes me faster. It helps me to research. It helps me to organize data. It is my feedback buddy. It is my editor. And I've been trying to get more and more efficient as it comes to routine work by automating it and operationalizing with AI, because I want to spend most of my time on what I call meaningful thinking. And meaningful thinking is typically customer research, talking with the industry, talking with peers and influencers, and forming an original thought, forming a creative idea. My friend Mary Ellen likes to say, if you want to be a thought leader, you need to have thoughts. And so that's kind of why I'm trying to break my time. I'm like, how can the routine work, the busy work, 300-page titles, how can that be more effective? How can I leverage AI for all of that stuff? And how can we do more creative thinking? How can we stand apart more, think more about positioning, think more about originality? And so my day and where I'm spending my time has shifted quite a bit. And I want that for other marketers too. That's actually a cool spot to be in on the creativity side of things.
Thank you very much for sharing, Viola. I think I don't really use much AI besides just text editing. But I think I really need to do something there. But I'm mostly relying, what we have Monday.com as a task management. I think I spent more time there just because, you manage the task. You're like working as a project manager eventually. So I spend more time there, but most probably I need to think, or maybe I can kind of connect them and do less work at the end of the day. George, what about you? What will be your biggest recommendation?
So first of all, I agree with what Viola said about originality. I mean, we talked about this concept of original content a while back. We started talking about it, I don't know, 1.5, 2 years maybe ago. And I think that now it comes into, it should come into like the scene and take a more prominent role in what we do. The problem is, and I may get cancelled by saying that most content marketers and SEO practitioners are average, and the reason they are average is because they have been.
Don't tell them.
I will. I may get cancelled from it by saying that, but still. And the reason why they are average is because they have been rewarded for a while from an average, a channel that rewards average. So we got away for a while with average content, with average opinions, with average graphics, with average media, and so on and so forth, with an average brand, and so on and so forth. I think that changes, right? And this may be a reason why many people are scared off and participate in this echo chamber of fear mongering and so on, right? So it's difficult to say that let's use any one tool, content optimization tool, and try to replicate what the top 10 search results are doing, and difficult to go on and conduct, a survey to get results, or in Viola's example, to take a contrarian opinion and say that, what, employee engagement ideas suck. Here's what to do instead, right? That's difficult to do. Now, to people who are concerned about the changes, I should say that no one really knows how this will play out and how big the impact will be. And what I mean here is, don't participate in the echo chamber, right? Try to form your own opinions and make your own experiments and so on. I would suggest that you should keep investing in organic search, right? But with the caveat of diversifying. It shouldn't be, your strategy should not be just Google, okay, anymore. And definitely, as an extension, not SEO. Right? Not just SEO. Don't make drastic changes in your strategy, except for things you would do regardless of AI overviews, right? If you make changes, make them and roll them out gradually and never all at once. And of course, ask for expert opinion, right? you should try to navigate this complex landscape on your own, right? So that sums up how I think about it, and what actions people should take.
Yeah, thank you very much, George, for sharing this with us. It really resonates well with what I think about that. And in my opinion, I think it's one more time, really, we need to start thinking more about users, what they want, right? Because this content will live forever, right? Rather than, one more time putting all our efforts and all our bets on Google or any other search engine, because there are tons of other ways of generating also organic traffic, right? And there are certain ways of creating this traffic by doing co-marketing campaigns with other businesses. And so there are a lot of possibilities actually, right? Because, referral traffic is also an organic traffic channel, right? Lukasz, what do you think about that? Because I'm more than certain that you have your own strong opinion on this.
Presentation of the information that is what I call non-directly duplicated content. Because there is like what to see in London, yeah? Let's say we're writing, probably everything was written already in the past. So we will be just spinning that content. But what George is saying, that makes sense to me. Adding opinions like why would you go to London when you have Oxford next to, or something like that. Yeah, there is a couple of examples. Money saving expert, fantastic URLs. The way how they are presenting data, which is, you would say, to drive people to apply for the credit cards, but they have this kind of own way. WikiHow also own way to present data. It doesn't look like a wall of text dumped, and at the last paragraph there is conclusion, and already like boom, that was written with ChatGPT. So I think maybe the website. I remember 2001 there was a website called toadvanced.com. They were doing amazing flash based websites with animation. They were like some kind of like a spaceships and so on. And then suddenly SEO made everyone look like it's under WordPress, or pretending that it's under WordPress. Many sidebar text. I remember a website where starting from the starting page, then you had to click welcome on my blah blah blah. Click, and then there was the main index. Not the today someone would do something like that. But I have also advices for the business owners. If you're doing any migration or launch, come to us, because there is nothing more frustrating. Like I hear, no, 2-3 months, we will launch the website, we will migrate the website, or we will launch and migrate and launch, and then we will come to you for consultancy. And then I need to
too late.
When I see this, that when I'm opening Search Console, and I hear from the business owner, it's probably tracking code. I was like, it's a Search Console. It's not a Google Analytics. And the last thing is like, I'm saying adios, and I have like big red button here, and I'm pressing this, and then my choice like, phew, and then I'm landing somewhere there on the field, on the parachute. And I'm not coming back to office until the end of the day.
Oh, it's horrible.
Remember, migration must, if you don't care, you really don't want to care about organic traffic, please carry on. But if you really care about organic traffic, spend a couple of pounds, because you're anyway spending like tons of pounds on the development company and companies that are supporting development company. So do not be stingy in the area of organic traffic.
And to the point is, this was also where you can get your SEO consultant's most meaningful thinking. It's usually website planning, website hierarchy, site structure, sitemap, making it crawlable, making it indexable. Yes, you can get your SEO consultant to update all your page titles, or put the keyword into a few headline ones, but where you're really going to see gains and where you're really going to see wins is all the stuff that you just talked about, the rebrands, the website relaunch, the migrations, the big, like setting up the website from scratch in a way that's conducive to crawlability and indexability, and setting up a content hierarchy from the get-go.
Yeah.
That's where you're getting the most bang for your SEO buck if you pull them in there.
On the personal level, I don't feel that someone needs me.
Lukasz, where can our listeners can find you, right?
Here. That's me, and I'm here, SEO London. Here is a dot, and please do not write .com after London. It's TTLD, SEO.London.
Okay. And what about you, Viola? Where can people, our listeners, can connect with you? What are the best ways?
I will tell you, but I also want to give a shout out, because I think we've been kind of like saying be more creative. And I think in another talk with you, Alex, I already said that, is if you're wondering who's creative in the SEO industry right now, notice that Ahrefs hired Ryan Law. Ryan Law was before at Animals, which is a very well-known thought leadership agency that have taught basically us in the industry a lot about thought leadership, what it is and what it means and how to do it well. So just notice the trend that Ahrefs started to hire that guy, and start looking at his articles on the Ahrefs blog, because I think that's a good example for how creativity could look like. Also want to give out a shout out to George, who has a phenomenal website and blog. If you want to see a really cool agency website, check it out. And finally, if you want to check out my website, flow-seo.com, I think probably for the next month or so before we're going to flow-agency.com, or Viola Eva on LinkedIn, please connect. It's the real me, writing real posts, so would love to see you there.
Thank you very much, Viola, for sharing where we can find you. And thank you very much for joining us. George, what about you?
So the agency website is minusia.com, double T. Feel free to check it out. You can subscribe to GrowthWaves at growthwaves.com. We have a free version of the newsletter with 2 emails/notes being sent out every month, so bi-weekly. And if you want to connect with me personally, best place to do so is on LinkedIn. You can find me there and say hi. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, guys, for joining me today. That was a pure pleasure. The conversation was up and beyond any type of expectation, and I hope that our listeners also enjoyed as much as I did. So thank you very much one more time. Really appreciate your time, and hope to see you very soon. So thank you one more time, and have a very nice rest of the evening.
Thank you, Alex, for putting this together. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone, for coming. Bye.
Yeah, bye.